guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gloria. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today I wanted to do a little update of my greenhouse. So we're going to do a little bit of a tour of everything that's inside, and I'll kind of just talk about like some growth updates and stuff like that. So if that's the type of video you guys like to watch, keep on watching. But before we get started with today's video, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss on any of my new videos. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so this is the overview of the greenhouse setup. And yeah, I have 3 shelves of plants. The bottom one is mainly just like propagations, and at the bottom here I have just a little tank of some water and pebbles just to kind of increase the humidity. And I keep the diffuser on sometimes, especially if I'm gone for a few days. So because I normally just mist the greenhouse with this little mister. So this is a handy little guy that I got from Home Depot. It's a lot easier to mist, and it has kind of like a function. It's like a pressurized mister. So I usually mist it 1 to 2 times a day. And yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the plants. Okay, so at the very front here on the top shelf, I have my PACHYCLADA. So this is my Hoya PACHYCLADA white. I recently repotted this so that it's in kind of like a bigger pot. It's in a 4-inch pot now. And the new leaves at the top are super cute. Nice and fuzzy. And yeah, like this one's doing great in the greenhouse. This one is actually a new orchid that I bought, which is starting to kind of produce like flower spikes. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah, right over here. That's a little spike hidden in the little leaf. And this is an ONCIDIUM TWINKLE Oro. So this one's a really cool orchid. It's a really good beginner orchid, which is what I like. This one is a mini orchid. I kind of forgot the name of it. I'll put it on the screen later. Starts with an H, but yeah, this one's kind of mounted on a little piece of bark, and it's just in a little pot. But yeah, you can see there's some flower that's gonna bloom soon, so that one's really exciting. I kind of don't really know much about orchids, but you know, I'm trying here. It's a kind of a new like hobby for me. This one is the Japonica. So it's let me grab the tag. Said Japonica. So I think this has been renamed to Phalaenopsis. So it's also called a phal now. And yeah, this one's apparently a little bit harder, but hopefully this will one day bloom for me. There's no spike right now, so it's just some cute little leaves. This one is my other ONCIDIUM Twinkle, but this one is the white. Oh, Fragrance Fantasy. So I think this one might have yellow blooms. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this one's also in spike as well. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there it is. So that's my orchid setup, and this is just my little meter to show what the humidity is. So right now it's 82. I just misted it, and I have the the plastic sheet opened right now, so it's gonna slowly drop, and it usually varies between, I would say, 65 to 95. So this one back here is my MELANOCHRYSUM. So this is the 2-leaf mother plant with a little growth point, and my moss pole. So this one has really been enjoying being in my greenhouse with all the humidity. I don't see any yellowing, no issues with the leaves. So I think it's pretty happy, and now that it's shooting out new growth, I can't wait for that to happen. It is a little bit more of a slower grower compared to the GLORIOSUM. This one is another orchid. So this one is the Vanda orchid. So it's a Vanda miniatum, and they have really kind of stiff leaves, and the blooms are also really pretty. So can't wait for this one to bloom for me, but I think this one is supposed to only bloom in the spring, so I'll probably see it next year. Back here, I have my Thai constellation. So this one is, not really doing much. It's also quite a slow grower, and I also have it on a moss pole. This is its newest leaf, which I see kind of like a a new leaf coming, but it just doesn't want to emerge. But it's somewhere in the stem there, so there's a little pregnant bump. And yeah, I think I just have to be patient with this one. So yeah, that one's right beside my MELANOCHRYSUM. Back there is my HOYA FINLAYSONII Splash. So that one is also shooting at some new growth, but it's really hard to see. I think there's some right over there. They're really tiny. But yeah, this one has been enjoying that spot over there. I don't really check up on it too much just because it's kind of in the back, but it's also doing good. This one is my GLORIOSUM. So this is the leaf that I propagated. It's a little bit yellow, but not to worry because there is a growth point in there, as you can see. So a new leaf will be coming out. It emerged from the node that I've kind of covered up in the soil so that, you know, the roots can kind of grow, and I can't wait for this new leaf to come out. Hopefully it does before the old leaf sheds, because it looks like it's almost time. But yeah, this is an old import leaf, that's why there's damage on it as well, so damage and yellowing. This one is my HOYA ENGLERIANA that I got from my friend, and it's actually gotten quite large. So I just have it in a little 2.5-inch pot in some soil. It was originally growing in moss, but I transferred it to soil just because it's grown so much now, and I think it's established enough to be in moss. Back here I have a HOYA MEMORIA cutting that I got from a friend, and there's actually an old peduncle there, so I hope that it will one day bloom from that same peduncle. And there's some new leaves growing over there, which is super cute. This one's also in some soil in my greenhouse, and it's fairly new in here, so I can't really say if it's enjoying it or not, but for the most part I think Hoyas do enjoy the extra humidity. So there's 4 little pots of Hoyas here. So this one is the CAUDATA, which also is showing some new growth. But yeah, this one's actually finally starting to do something, which I'm really happy about. Has fuzzy leaves and they're nice and splashy. That one is my Hoya Bella Reverse Variegata, and also is growing, so it grows from the tip. And it's quite a prolific bushy grower, so really good. That one back there is my Hoya CALLISTOPHYLLA, which hasn't done anything since being in my greenhouse, but that's okay. My Hoya FUNGII is actually doing something though. Let me bring it out. There's actually some new leaves. So it was hiding under that other leaf, so that's why I couldn't see it. But yeah, they're so tiny, and I can't wait till they get big like this one, because the veining is so cute, and it's just a very, like, I don't know, I really like this Hoya. It's like very dainty looking. So I just have this in a little Dollarama container just so it's easy for me to kind of carry out so I can water it. That one is my GLORIOSUM. So as you can see, it's growing a new leaf here, which is starting to emerge. But yeah, the internodal spacing is quite large, so I think this one actually needs a little bit more light. Once I can figure out a new location to put my GLORIOSUM, I will be moving it. But for now, this leaf just faces the window, which is the north-facing window. And I don't know, it's hard to show you guys. There. So that's its leaf, and this one is the other leaf, which happens to be yellowing a bit. So I think I might have to be giving it filtered water from now on, because the tap water is not doing well with this plant. But yeah, this new leaf is looking good, and hopefully it kind of calms itself down. It might also be yellowing and browning just because I recently propagated this, so I gave it a little chop and probably stressed it out. But yeah, it's in a 5-inch pot and it's starting new growth, so I'm not too concerned. Back there is my CLARINERVIUM, which actually recently dropped a leaf, and I think I have to check the roots on this one. I'm not sure what this situation is over here as well. So this is the new leaf, and yeah, I'll probably check the roots, see if it's like root rot or if there's any pests. And I see the back leaf over here is also kind of yellowing, so I don't know, maybe I just can't figure out these easy anthuriums, but the harder ones are okay for me. Okay, so it's pretty full up there for sure. It's a little backlit, so I do apologize. But moving on to the next row, these are mainly my Hoyas. So up here at the very front is my Hoya OBOVATA VARIEGATA. So this one, the two top leaves are the newest leaves, which have finally hardened off. And yeah, it's also quite splashy, which I quite enjoy. But the VARIEGATA OBOVATA doesn't tend to give out a lot of like circular leaves. Like, it's very rare that it does. It usually kind of comes a little wonky like that, but I don't really mind it. My BILOBATA is enjoying the extra humidity. It's never really lived outside of a greenhouse in my care, so I mean, I'm pretty happy with the growth. Like, these are new growths. I've recently propagated this as well, and it's also shooting out new growth in here, so there's some new leaves as well. My Hoya Australis Lisa has still done absolutely nothing, but I mean, it's not declining, so not really complaining too much about that. I was hoping the extra humidity would actually make it grow faster, but still pretty stagnant. This one is my Hoya Numerarioides with also a bit of new growth. It was previously just on my shelf, not in the greenhouse, and I realized that it wasn't really doing much. So since I've put it in here, I think it's doing a little bit better. These are the new leaves over on this side. So this one's a new leaf that's come out since being in the greenhouse. So it's still fairly soft, so it's gonna harden off. And I see a little growth point there. So lots of new growth happening, soon to be happening, I guess. This one is my Hoya Parasitica Splash. So I recently gave it a new metal trellis because the old one was just getting way too small. As you can see, there's actually a whole new, like, this piece is a whole new vine that I shot out, and there's a little new growth there. This one's also a new leaf, so it's very soft still. But yeah, as you can see, I can like bend it very easily versus like these are like pretty hard. Okay, back there is my Philodendron White Princess. That new leaf that's coming out looks like it's completely white, so having some concerns about it. And that's probably why it hasn't grown recently, because it was shooting out leaves like left and right before, but since this new white leaf is coming out, it's gotten a lot slower. My Hoya rotundiflora is doing great back there. Some new leaves, mainly on this vine. Let me show you. So these are some of the new leaves that's come out since being in the greenhouse, and it's a little bit lighter color and it's still a little soft, so it hasn't hardened off yet. But yeah, that one's pretty happy. This one is my Hoya maniparensis, and it's also growing quite well. So these are new leaves right here. It actually grew, I think, like 6 leaves since being in the greenhouse. The propagated piece down here still hasn't done much, but maybe soon it will actually grow because it's very uneven now. The middle piece is really tall. This side piece is also growing, but the other one is still not doing much. Back there is my crystallinum. So this leaf is still looking quite perfect, and there's actually a new leaf coming out. So look at that. It's just so pretty and red, and yeah, it's slowly getting bigger. They do emerge really, really tiny and get super big over a period of few weeks. This one is my Philodendron micans, and it's completely rooted now. So I rooted a few pieces. One piece was already rooted, but the other couple were not. So since then, it's shot out some new leaves. And this has also never been outside of my greenhouse. So once it's kind of fully rooted and growing more, I might actually decide to take it out. But for now, I think I will continue keeping it in here just because it's doing pretty well. Back here is my Hoya polynura. So the new leaves that it was coming out with when I first got it still kind of looks the same. I mean, they're a little bit bigger, but for the most part, it hasn't grown too substantially. But I can't wait for it to actually start trailing because right now it still looks a little awkward. My Thomsonii, I gave it a little makeover recently, so now it's actually all like closer to the pot, so it's not trellised up anymore, and I've cut it into I think like 3 or 4 pieces. So they're just currently rooting right now in the greenhouse and no signs of decline, so the leaves aren't getting mushy or soft, so I think they are starting to root. So I'm just rooting this directly in its original pot in the soil. Sometimes I change it and put it in moss, but I just got a little lazy with this, so I think I'll just leave it the way it is. Back here is my Hoya obovata. So I've combined the cutting that I made into a single pot with the base original Hoya obovata. So this one is the original, which it has come out with this beautiful new leaf and this beautiful new leaf as well. So since propagating it, which I cut right there, it shot out those 2 leaves from the node, and this was the top cutting. So the one over on this side, this is the new leaf it came out with, and that leaf was an old leaf. So I think it's doing pretty well in the greenhouse and loving life. I try to keep the bigger Hoyas kind of at the back so that the shorter Hoyas can get sunlight from the north facing window over there. I might add some lights to this shelf as well, this level, just because it's a little bit dark. As you can see, the top one over there at least has a grow light hanging from the top of the greenhouse, and I just have this set up for I think 14 hours every day, so this one kind of lights up the top. The middle doesn't have any grow lights, and down here I have these grow lights, which I've gotten from Amazon. So we'll start off with the side here. So this is the Hoya pentaphlebia, and this has also done kind of not really anything since it's been in my care, but I mean, it's only recently that I got this into the greenhouse, so I'm not too concerned. I have some propagations here. So this one, they're all in moss, all of these. So I have 2 pots of Mathilde. This one is actually my friend's that my other friend wanted me to give him, so it's just staying in my greenhouse for the time being. And it's just the Hoya Bella, so the regular green variety, which I think is really cute. I like this one and the reverse variegata. And I have actually 5 pots of Hoya lacunosa silver Eskimo. So unfortunately, my original plant actually got a bit of root rot, so I had to chop it all up to try to save it, and I think it's doing okay now. So it's not wrinkly or anything, and it's rooting in some moss, and I think it will survive. So I will probably combine them all into one pot again, so it won't be a long piece of Hoya lacunosa, because this was all part of like one vine. So now I'm just gonna make kind of like a bushier, flatter pot, and I might just sell a few cuttings, but stay tuned for that. Back there I have my Hoya compacta green. So this is Hoya carnosa, and since it's been in my greenhouse, it grows a little bit faster, but for the most part it's still fairly slow. I see the most growth on this vine right here. As you can see, it's shot out a little tendril, and there's little mini leaves growing at each node, but all the other stems kind of don't really do much. I mean, there's a little leaf there. This one is my Anthurium crystallinum. So I separated this from the original one just to kind of encourage more growth, because it wasn't doing anything for a long time. And since then, I see so many growth points. So there's one right there, and there's also one on this side. So I think new leaves will be coming soon. So currently it's just a stump right now, but there were roots already on this portion of the stump, so I wasn't too worried about kind of rooting this or anything. I was just waiting for the nodes to be activated. So yeah, I just have a little like plastic cover to kind of increase the humidity even more inside the greenhouse. This one is my Astrophytum cactus seedlings. So I originally bought 25. Most of them have died, unfortunately, and that's totally normal, but I do have 5 here that have sprouted and seem to be surviving. So those 5 are doing okay. This one also only have 1 left in the pot, but yeah, I think that one probably will make it. So these usually take quite some time for, you know, the actual seedlings to pop up, but for the time being, I just leave it alone, keep it kind of moist, and it's inside that takeout container. So yeah, that pretty much is this shelf right here. I do have 2 grow lights, so one's here, one's there. I have it timed for 12 hours a day, and that's because the window, as you can see, starts from there upwards, so it doesn't get too much light down here. And I just have mainly like propagations and, you know, random 2 plants, but for the most part, I just keep those here, and hopefully they do okay. So that pretty much concludes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed to see kind of what's going on inside my greenhouse and all the updates I wanted to provide you with. I have changed up the setup a little bit, but you know, I still kind of do the things I originally said I was going to be doing, like misting it a couple times a day, and I keep it fully closed, but I do have a fan running down here. So this fan is on 24/7, and it's just on the low setting. I got this off Amazon, super cheap. I think it was under $20, and it just blows some air so that it circulates the air and, you know, prevents any mold from forming. So that pretty much concludes today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.